welcome to the July 20th meeting of the Glenville Town Board. Please rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. Please join me in prayer. Dear Lord, teach us to trust in you so that when the unexpected storms of life come, we will expect peace in the midst of those storms, knowing that you are near. You hear our concerns, and you are with us, and you are for us. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please call the roll.
Councilman Martin?
Here.
Let the record show Councilman Petrolani and Councilman Dewatner absent. Councilwoman Rosowski? Here. Supervisor Ketzley?
Here, our agendas are up front. We have a fairly quick meeting. We'll start with town council reports, which is item number 4. But before we do have to put on there that item number 12 will be an executive session to discuss a personnel matter. You're welcome to stay. We'll go into the other room, but we don't anticipate any public business after the executive session, so we don't recommend it necessarily, since there'll be no further public business after the executive session, which is item number 12. So with that, we'll move to item number 4, town council reports. Councilwoman Rogowski.
I have no report this evening.
Councilman Martin.
Just quickly on the comp plan, we received an update, or I did. All the chapters of the document are complete with the exception of 2. One is the government services chapter, which is my responsibility to write, and I hope to have it provided this week. And I think the other one was infrastructure.
Yeah.
Infrastructure was the other one that's still outstanding, but I think is nearly done. So all that said, I think we're still on a schedule for a fall release of a draft to the public for review, and we're still on target to have those public meetings for public comment after they review it, I would say in October. We don't have any real firm date set, but that's what we're projecting still, so that's good.
Excellent. Thank you, Councilman. Next item on the agenda is item number 5, a public hearing as soon as possible, as matters can be reached to hear public comments on the town of Glenville's community development needs and possible submission of a CDBG block grant. So open the public hearing now. Anyone wish to be heard on that matter? Regarding the possible submission of a CDBG block grant. Going once, going twice, seeing none. Hearing is now closed. We'll move to privilege of the floor. We do have a few people signed up tonight, so we'll start with the list. If you're not on the list and you'd like to be heard at privilege of the floor, when we get through the list, just raise your hand. We'll invite you to the podium. State your name and address, please, for the record, and address the town board. We ask that people hold their comments to 5 minutes. So, with that, we'll start with the first person signed up, Jack Posewitz.
Good evening all. Sorry that Bill couldn't be here, but is that okay? Sadly, I'm here for the 3rd time on the same subject. For the last 4 years, you've all been asked repeatedly to uphold the town law that you all swore to uphold. Specifically, that law that prohibits the operation of commercial businesses in residential areas. You all know that the DNL company for the last 4+ years, almost 5, has been allowed to flout our town codes. It's also been allowed to expand its operation to a 7-day, 16-hour, 6 a.m., 10 p.m. flow of logging trucks, mobile cranes, Chris, heavy trucks, 18-wheelers, and multiple employee traffic. I don't know how many they have, but it's probably 15 or more. Some of their many crews, it's not just one crew, ran trucks all 3 days of the 4th of July weekend. We held a party in our backyard. People from Scotia, Schenectady, Cohoes, Albany, Amsterdam saying, what is blank and blank going on with all this money? Anyway, you guys gotta know that this is not a cottage business run out of a home. The owner doesn't even blankety blank live there, okay? It's a 30-acre truck and logging depot that operates in a residential zone. All right, let's think about that for a moment. And that failure has won another company on Church Road, 2 doors away from me. Ajax Landscape and Excavation Company. Started as a part-time business, has grown now to a full-time, multi-employee company. They advertise in the Glendale Weekly, check it out.
Jack, can you just say, it's Ajax?
P-H-Y-J-A-K-S.
Landscape.
Thank you. They operate trucks that come and go all day long. They emit diesel exhaust, the shrill noises of vacuum trucks, and they are now planning to build another expansion outbuilding for their business. So it's growing. One more degradation to our neighborhood. Now another threat, again, to the lax enforcement of codes. Sad to say that the Gazette addressed this morning in the editorial section. DNL is in the business of removing dead and diseased trees. And recently, a serious threat to our environment was discovered in Saratoga County, that being the emerald ash borer. You guys are probably familiar with that. They transport trees from Saratoga County to Church Road, Schenectady County. I own a stand of ash and oak trees, which is directly across the road from their operation. It's home to a wide variety of wildlife, birds, four-legged critters, plants, trees that are all part of the fabric that make Glenville Hill such a special place and one that I'm proud to be part of. And I plan to have my property remain that without logging, but I don't want this pest to destroy the value of my property. So I have a personal interest in this as well. Again, town's failure to perform the simple task of enforcing its codes creates this potential environmental disaster. Almost done. And I'm sorry to say, guys, but maybe you don't care because you live there, but I do. I care deeply about our town and the lives and well-being of our neighbors, my neighbors, these guys' neighbors. So, you hate me for being a pain in the ass for trying to get you to do the right thing, but I'm going to be here for a long time until you do it. So, you should know also, I've met and worked with some of the town's employees, can say with qualification that they're all well-qualified and dedicated people. And Chris, I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but as you're the manager, would you explain to us why they can't get their job done? Not now, later. You did a great job in controlling taxes, so I salute you for that. And this should be kind of a piece of cake for you. You know, it's hard stuff to do. Other towns do it well. So in closing, I will say, regretfully, I will say, Chris Raymond had in the Gazette last month soliciting business sponsorships for your friends of Chris Cutzel Farmers. Your ad also stated, quote, "I'm committed to protecting the quality and integrity of our neighborhoods." First, let me say this. Would you prove to us that pay to play does not exist in Glendale? Please. Please also explain why the quality and integrity of Glenville Hills seems, underline seems, not to matter a whit to you. I hope I'm wrong on this. And I can tell you this, my friend. Many people are saying that business sponsorships and money trump the people, their safety, and their quality of life. That hurts me, really. Almost done. Again, these are live human beings at risk, not just on the road, Old Road, underdog, drums, and running throughout our town. It's a great big, they just painted lines on our road. These tandem logging trucks exceed the width. Anyway, we're talking about moms and dads pushing baby strollers, kids riding bikes, old folks walking, young folks walking, riding bikes, and they all use that road because that's where they live. They pay their taxes, and they expect a return on their money that they pay for having a safe neighborhood. And I have qualifications say that most of us in this room are here because we are truly patriots, and I include all you guys. And they care about others, and we want to keep London a good place to live. But we're all fed up with over 4 years of this nonsense.
Jack, I just need your address for the record, please.
I'm sorry?
Your address for the record, please.
It's 321 Church Road. I'm right in the middle.
Thank you.
I'm on the south side of the road. And in fact, I sent most of your votes, email some months ago, inviting you to park at the end of my driveway and observe this nonsense that goes on daily, 7 days a week. Okay?
Thank you, Jack.
All right, and so please do it before one of those guys or twice kills somebody, okay?
I'll answer you, but
Thank you.
this isn't the right.
I'm sorry?
I'll answer you, this isn't the right time. I've been on Church Road many times observing, but we'll talk later about that.
I thank you for your time.
Tracy Allen is the next person signed up.
Hi, my name is Tracy Allen. I live at 418 Church Road, directly across from Jack. And next to Denise, who's going to speak to you next. I was here a month ago, and I expressed concerns that are similar to those that are expressed by Jack tonight. And you asked me to look into, to talk to some people about this. Unfortunately, we had a family crisis and we're unable to do that. But it's the next town board meeting, so I'm here. And you had said to me that you were going to perhaps look into it, that you used to live in Church Road. On Ridge Road. And I'm not sure if you, and I know it's not a question and answer time, but I'm not sure if you had time to do that. The concerns that Jack is talking about are concerns we've been dealing with for a long time, and it's getting worse and worse and worse, as he is saying, more and more traffic. And so I'm just here to reiterate what I said a month ago, and to ask the town board to please look into this issue. And you very well, you said, Chris, the last time we had a town board meeting, you said you represent all 28,000 local residents.
Almost 30, yes.
It's 30,000?
Almost 30.
Almost 30 now? And I'm just asking you to please represent us. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person we have signed up is Peter Booker.
Oh, thank you. I'm here, and I've been here before, over the last 3 years, concerning the Old Dominion illegal lights that are shining on our properties in Westwood neighborhood on Route 5 and River. Again, it seems to me that they're violating 3 parts of the town code. The first part, 270-65, glare, whether direct or reflected, whether from floodlights or high temperature process such as welding, shall be confined to the property in which it is generated. 271, the intent is that nearby properties or neighborhoods are not significantly impacted as a result, either environmental impacts, visual effects, or through reduction in property value. 270-74, off-street loading lights. Lighting used to illuminate on-street loading shall be configured in a manner so as not to reflect upon adjoining properties or streets. Lights and sources shall be shielded and projected downward. 270-73, off-street parking. All lights associated with parking areas will be directed into the parking area and away from adjacent properties and public right-of-way. did make up a little diagram here to show, again, what a shielded light would look like. They would aim it on the property. A light that's not shielded is aiming off the property. It also goes out here. This goes out and is kept on their property, and that's what we're asking that they do. Another friend of mine showed me an example of it with this little light. Like this is a light that's shielded and aimed on this piece of paper so I can read it, serving that purpose. If I show it like this, it's uncomfortable, and if you got a not 24 hours a day, 12 hours a day roughly, it's obviously not shielded and obviously not maintained on the property. And so it's been 5 months since they came over the last time. They brought 2 lighting people over. I don't think they were lighting engineers. I think they're lighting salespeople. They still haven't come over. I suggested that they do one so that they get it right, because they tried this before and they didn't get it right. My trees, again, are lit up 60 feet in the air. So obviously, they're not aimed down, they're aimed directly across. You can see them when you come off the thruway across the river. They're lighting them up. And it's getting a little frustrating that that's happening. Again, we can read in our bedroom without a light on, 300 feet from the road, 400, 500, 600 feet from their lights. So there's also a safety issue here, because I brought up the fact, and the light people were there, that the extreme intense light, which my neighbor called, looks like a high security prison. The intense lights, even on their property and on their drivers, when they drive out, is such that for a couple of minutes, just like if you, on a sunny day, and you go into a tunnel, their eyes are going to take a couple of minutes to adjust to the darkness, and so they're going to be less safe on the road, and the people on the road will be less safe because they can't see things, including people walking or bicycling on the road. They corrected me and said, no, it's 15 minutes. One of them back in Boston said, no, it's 15 minutes before their eyes are actually adjusted to the night and to the driving. So I would still like that law to be enforced and those lights to be aimed and shielded, fully shielded, so that when I look over there, I'm not seeing their light bulbs. I mean, I'll see their building lit up. And as Paul had said, glare is subjective, so reflecting off the building is another situation, but they're not shielded. When I see the lights, they're not shielded, they're not following the law, and appreciate it if that law will be enforced. Just because they're a corporation and not a person doesn't mean they should be able to flout the law. Thank you.
Thank you. Last person we have signed up is Denise Christie.
My name is Denise Christie. I live at 388 Church Road, and I know you all know me. Been here plenty of times. This has to do with DNL. I have nothing against DNL. I don't know anything about anybody who works there, but I do know where I live, and I know that at 5:15 in the morning, I don't have central air, so I can hear all this. A fully loaded truck will go down the road with logs. 10:15 at night, after that truck's made several trips during the day, they'll come up fully loaded with logs at 10:15 at night. You have to listen to them straining to get up the hill. Then they have to turn into their driveway, go down their driveway, and then you hear beep, 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 beep. This is a residential area, and according to your code, the only thing that's allowed with logging is to fully log a piece of property. Remove the logs, the guys are done, they go their way, and they use the log somewhere. That's not what's happening here. This is a logging company that has their base there. They have employees going there. They have 2 huge 18-wheelers that go up and down, up and down, up and down all day long. They're a caravan of trucks that never, ever obey the speed limit. Every morning they go down at least 45 to 50 miles an hour. That right there should be a policeman just waiting for them and nail them. That's not safe. Then the trucks go up and down all day long. They get their wood in the back, then you hear the chainsaws going, or you hear the bandsaw going, or you hear the thing that lifts the logs off the trunk. This is a business that has established itself there in a residential area, and we keep coming to you and asking you for help for this. You are setting a precedent where somebody could go up there and put a cement factory. Why not? You need a permit for a pool, you need a permit for fences, you need a permit for stairs on your deck, you need a permit for a deck. Where do these people get a permit to do this and to totally obliterate a neighborhood? Is there a permit that exists for this? I do not know. But I know I probably couldn't get one. If I wanted to start a logging company in my yard, could I do that? What is stopping anybody else from totally taking a residentially zoned neighborhood and making it into a free-for-all? You're setting a precedent for our neighborhood that so-and-so is doing this, so-and-so is doing that, so-and-so is doing that. Why can't we do whatever we want to do? What we're asking is for you to actually take care of the code, which has been ordained by all of you, and make them obey to what has been ordained by you. That's all we're asking. And we come here month after month after month. 10:15 at night, do you want to hear a truck going by your property, fully loaded with huge logs, straining to get up a hill, every single day? It's like living in a construction zone. If you built a house in a brand new area and they said, well, 2 years you'll have a little construction, okay, I can live with that. But this is 4.5 years. There's no end in sight for us. Who's going to end this? We're hoping it's somebody will step up from the board and do what is right and help us out. That's all we're asking for. I appreciate everything you guys have done with East Glenville, Target, all the businesses, everything is great. I appreciate that, and that's your legacy. You guys have done a wonderful job there. We're asking, just take a little trip away from us, East Glenville, go up to West Glenville, and see what we've had to live with. For 4.5 years, we're begging you for your help. And we're hoping that you'll step up to the plate and do the right thing and help us out, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard from the floor? Seeing none, the floor is closed. And we'll move to supervisor's comments to the board. I will say, before I begin the comments, there was a few accusations there and innuendos and, some disparaging things about me personally, and I find that appalling and disgusting. I've been a supervisor of this town for a long time, and for anyone to insinuate that in some way or manner or shape I am somehow bought off by a logging company to ignore their operation is just beyond the pale of reasonability and shouldn't even have to be addressed at this juncture. But it does disturb me that, I do go to West Glenville quite often. I've spent a lot of time in West Glenville, either on Church Road. I've sat on Church Road often, watching. I see some of what is being talked about. I have sat out there. I've gone out for the zip line in West Glenville and watched and observed. I do those things. I know you guys try to do that as well, but to say that we're not enforcing codes or relaxed on it is not fair. In the case of D&L, we responded to complaints. If you recall, this went through the courts. This comes off the town board and goes into the courts. There was a resolution through the courts. What that exactly was, we'll have to go back and read the case. Our attorney's not here tonight to explain to us exactly what the resolution was. But it went through the courts. We did respond to complaints. We have done what we can do, apparently, because whatever's happening in the court, somehow the agreement was made. They interpret the codes, not us. We make the codes, we don't interpret the codes. But that did go through the court. This this Old Dominion lighting thing, I just have to say again, our chief code enforcing officer, the gentleman who was responsible for enforcing the codes in this town, has listened to the complaint and has ruled that they are not in violation of any lighting codes. We can't, you may not agree with it, you don't have to agree with it, but we can't enforce the code, we can enforce the codes as the board, or interpret the codes. We have a code enforcement officer for that. And there's a reason why there's a separation between enforcement and law code creation. So he interpreted it that way. He is now retired, but before he left, he did rule that it was within the site plan approval. It's within that site plan. I also have sat out on Route 5. I think you know that because we left an event and I said, I'm going to go sit out there for a little while and observe this. So I've seen what Paul has seen, our code enforcer, and I agree with Paul. I don't see the violation. Now, I'm not the code enforcer, so it doesn't matter what I see or don't see, but I have taken the time on many occasions at night to go down on Route 5 and sit. Even to the point of sitting in these neighborhoods where I think people are going to call the cops on me because I look like a creeper just sitting in a neighborhood. But we do take these things very seriously, and we do respond. I would also say once again, the best thing, the most important thing, is when you see violations, that residents ought to be calling the code enforcement officer at that moment. If it's at night, then the next morning. Terry Patrica, Arnold Briscoe is the new building inspector who's in that department. Those are the people that are responsible for enforcing codes. When I bring it to them every Thursday morning after one of these meetings, and I say, hey, we've gotten this and that, and the other thing, and they'll say, well, we haven't heard a thing. They don't have anything to respond to because there are no complaints. We need complaints called in to the code enforcement officer or the building inspector in order for them to respond. If that's what needs to happen, then that needs to happen. I will again tomorrow bring this up with both of them. I will again tomorrow ask them to look into it, but they do not have anything specific based on what we're hearing tonight to respond to, which if they are called at that time, or if they're called as soon as possible from when they're open, from the time of the event, then they'll have an open file on it, and it'll be something the town will have to react to. But unless that happens, it's very difficult. So again, I'm sorry to have to respond, but to disparage me isn't going to really change the situation. And I do fight for the neighborhoods, East Glenville and West Glenville. I know each of you do. I know the other board members do as well. So I think enough said on that. We'll move to the
Just to verify what you said, Chris, I have a text from you, June 16th, 2016. I've been sitting at Church Road since 8, and there have been 0 trucks so far.
Yeah.
May I say something?
No, this is not a back and forth. Jack, you and I will talk. Trust me, we will talk.
I'm just verifying that extra effort is taken to get out into the field, that people just don't sit here behind his desk
No.
and listen to the complaints.
I'm in the field quite a lot. I'm in the field quite a lot. On many complaints, both in East Glenville and West Glenville. So, and we have our problems out there. I'm not saying that our neighborhoods don't have some things we're trying to address. We are. There are code violations out there that we're working on. But I think we've said enough on it for now. We will talk. I'm glad to talk to the residents after this or maybe tomorrow morning. I'd like to just go over really quick the financials because I think there's some important things. I know Jason sent those to you. We're at the point where we are through our 2 first quarters of 2016. And we have some 2 first quarters of 2015 to provide some comparisons. As Jason pointed out in his memo, there are 2 quarters we're looking at where we are up 4.2%. Or $265,000 from 2015. However, this increase is wholly due to the change in the timing of some debt payments and payments of additional principal on our bond anticipation notes. So if we exclude that anomaly, then our expenses in the first 2 quarters are actually down 0.6% over 2015. Total wages payments are flat compared to last year, and this is largely due to the staff turnover, particularly in the police department, which resulted in new recruits backfilling positions previously held by more experienced officers. And of course, the mild winter that we had provided some overtime reductions in the snow plowing line, so that was very helpful. Through these 2 quarters, total employment benefits are down 9% from last year, and this is largely due to staff turnover. We've had 9 full-time employees hired since October 1st of 2015. Nearly all those new hires are less costly because they're at Tier 6 as opposed to the Tier 4 members that have left, retired. All of the folks we've lost have retired. And most have taken advantage of the health insurance waiver we offer as opposed to taking the health insurance benefit. So that's a lot cheaper for the towns paying the waiver. On the revenue side, many non-property tax revenues such as Metroplex sales tax and water and sewer fees are received after June 30th, so we really don't have a full picture yet on this, but so far what we can talk about is court revenues have rebounded slightly from a significant drop of 2014 and 2015. From 2008 to 2013, we averaged $214,000 in court revenue. In 2014 and 15, we averaged less than $153,000, which is a drop of almost 30%. Year-to-date revenues in 2016 are on pace for $170,000, still well below our historic average, but up from recent years. And as you all know, the 2016 budget is $175,000, so that revenue line looks like it's going to be actually a surplus this year. With 9 months of mortgage tax year completed, as you know, that's our 3rd largest revenue line. We're tracking slightly above last year. We expect to end 2016 with about $580,000 in mortgage tax revenue, up from $518,000 in 2015. However, the increase is wholly attributed to mortgage tax revenue for the new hotel under construction. So that's was a big boost in the mortgage tax line. Building permit revenues are up $35,000 over this period last year. And again, that's really attributed to 2 major projects, the hotel and Price Chopper switching to Market 32 brand, which is happening now. So Glendale's the next Market 32 brand to switch. And our franchise fee revenue from the cable company is just under $168,000, up almost 2% from last year. It's funny, they're losing customers like crazy, but the customers that are staying are paying more, and so actually they're making more money on fewer subscribers.
I know.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Lastly, our 2017 tax cap has been confirmed at 0.68, a record low figure since the tax cap was imposed, and will provide us with less than $60,000 in potentially new spending for 2017. I think you all have the spreadsheet that Jason provided, so I won't go over that because you have that already. And I just want to take a moment to go over the budget, where we are in the process going forward. Since summertime, midsummer, really starts the budget process. That's exciting for a lot of people I know. For Jason and I, we are excited about it actually. We did put a memo out to the staff, so we've again went over the record low tax cap with them and where we are with that and what that means to spending. We talked about the rising health insurance expense, although there was a lot of promises about this Obamacare. Nothing has come to actually help or lower any costs because we're seeing the same exact increases every year. And this year we're seeing probably about a 9 to 10% possibly increase in the health insurance line, which will be a net health care expense rise of $75,000 to $125,000. Remember, our cap only allowed less than $60,000 in new spending, but health insurance is already potentially at $125,000 in new spending. So there's that challenge we have every year. It's not a new challenge. It's not, I feel like I've been saying this for, it's been my almost 7th year now saying this, but it is a problem for us to go forward. Obviously, we have flat and declining revenues in this new budget coming up. Our mortgage tax revenues remain historically low, although there has been a little bit of a revive there. We expect to end 2016 with about $580,000 in mortgage tax, far below our $780,000 high. Our sales tax, this is Councilman Martin's favorite topic, our sales tax stays flat at about $1.7 million, about 1.8 almost. It has been that way since 2004 and will remain that way through 2020. Sales tax is our second largest revenue source, trailing only property tax, and the zero growth in that revenue line is obviously something that's hurting us tremendously. And what we're asking our department heads to do this year, new as in past years, is to actually plan capital project and equipment needs. We have a worksheet we sent out to them to do an analysis of where we need to spend capital monies and equipment needs over not just this year, but future years, so we can plan a little bit better. The deadline for the budget to come into me is August 2nd from our department heads. Our calendar will go like this every year. We have the same calendar. Department head hearings will be held here at a board meeting on August 17th. On September 15th, we will have an EIG, the Efficiency in Government Focus Group on the budget at the Senior Center at 7 o'clock. And then Wednesday, September 21st, we will do our our form that we always do, the budget form for the residents to have input into the budget. I will submit my budget to Clerk Niels on Wednesday, September 28th, and then from there it goes to the board, and then we will adopt the preliminary budget on October 19th. We'll have a public hearing notice sent on October 20th. Have a public hearing on November 2nd, and enact the budget on November 16th. So that's the budget calendar. I think Jason might have sent all that to you, but in case he didn't, that's it. You can go over it again if you like. Some other quick updates, really quick. We did get our municipal restructuring fund grant into the Department of State. That was the grant that is trying to develop a regional shared transportation hub between the fire departments, the two school districts, the village and the town. It's a great application. We're hopeful that we may get some money out of that to do a study on trying to find efficiencies and consolidating all of our services into one, and our equipment into one location. I mentioned EIG, they met and they want to put together this budget roundtable forum, so that's, I told you the date for that, that's going forward. Tomorrow I will meet with Susan Swartz of the school district to go over the senior center expansion that we had the money from Senator Farley to complete. We'll talk with the school. As you know, the school owns the property, so we need to talk to the property owner about plans for the building. And as I think you know, I put an email out, ESAM is celebrating their 70th anniversary, and they're having a dinner on August 6th. So if you'd like to join, I know Councilman Rosowski and her husband are joining, Councilman Pittman is joining. If you'd like to join for the celebration, 5:30 is the ceremony, 8 o'clock is the celebratory dance. The last thing I want to just bring up really quick is we received our budget for the UCC, the County Dispatch Center. It's the same budget as previous years, last year, with a 2% increase, almost conveniently. Now, we know our tax cap is 0.63, not 2%. So we already have a problem that this is far exceeding the tax cap in new spending from the county that's being imposed on the towns and the city. Plus, I want to point out, and I will point out to the county, they received $2.1 million in impact money for that casino that has gone into their budget. Now, what more impact could we possibly have than calls into the UCC Center, potentially, if we're going to have public safety impacts? So in my mind, it would make a tremendous amount of sense that some of that $2.1 million be used to offset the increase in the UCC budget as an impact fee or revenue, actually, that goes back to the towns. Why don't we finally give relief to the towns instead of continuing to impose these increases on the towns, particularly when you're flush with $2.1 million in impact money? So I plan, my meeting is August 2nd with the UCC board. I plan on voting no because it's an irresponsible budget that is not using the resources that were meant to be used to protect the taxpayer. And until they do that, I'm not going to vote for a budget that just arbitrarily says a 2% increase to the taxpayers' money. And it's about time our legislators stepped up and fought for the people of this town. Because that is ridiculous.
Where, was there any projections, annual, year-to-year projections done for the UCC under this new system? Provided at the time of the planning and,
Oh, you're talking about a pro forma?
yes.
Yeah, they provided that.
How does this budgetary hard number compare with the pro forma number for the 2017 year?
Have you looked at it?
We just received UCC budget.
I would like to see that comparison so we can see where they land with their projection. And the other thing I want to comment on is the sales tax revenue. And for the few people, residents that are here, and those that are watching on TV someday or over their video on their computer, this is going to be, in my mind, the issue in next year's local election. Because I am personally going to make it one. And the reason why it is an issue for this next election is the current sales tax agreement we have now expires when?
2020.
2020. That will be in the third year of this next term for the people who hold the county legislator seats and these town board seats, 2017 through 2021. And so in that time frame, we are going to have to renegotiate, hopefully, we get some form of negotiation on this sales tax agreement. And I'm going to be very loud and vocal about the inequity of this current agreement and the arrangement by which this town's people are being shafted. We put up with the impact of our commercial growth that we've worked so hard to build our commercial base that helps offset the real property tax pressure to the resident. And the way that does that is by, in normal instances, increased sales tax revenue will offset the revenue needed from the real property tax. But we have been under this lockdown agreement for so long now, as Chris reported, there's been no increase in sales tax revenue to this town. And even though we've been under modest increases in expenses and worked our tail off to try and get the expenses year to year to be in line with the increases allowed in the tax cap or the paltry percent increase that we are afforded, it's not enough. And it's not going to work in the long term. We need to have the sales tax revenue that we generate from this community and the impacts that we bear from this community for that sales tax and the sales that occur. We need to have that come back to this community. And it's going to be very interesting to see the slate of legislative candidates, what their stand is on this issue. Are they going to put party first and keep the Democratic, I'm going to be very frank, keep the Democratic stronghold over the legislature up there for its own good, rather than the good of the residents and the people who elect them into office each and every cycle? It's going to be very interesting to see what they say about that issue. Are they going to fight to bring that sales tax revenue back here to you people who vote for them, or are they going to do it for the party bosses? It's going to be very interesting to see.
Jim, just before I conclude, the other thing in 2020 that's up for renegotiation, and this infuriated me recently when I learned this, is the UCC agreement. Now, if you remember, the UCC agreement was signed under what they call maintenance of effort, meaning that whatever your effort, whatever you were paying coming into it, you're going to continue to pay. We felt that fundamentally unfair because we did things differently here in the town than other communities did, so it wasn't quite a fair comparison, apples to oranges. But one of the things in the contract that they said is we'll renegotiate, and what we'll do is we'll look at call volumes and adjust. So I, of course, now that we're a year into it, asked the question, can I get a report on 911 call volume? And the answer is no. You cannot get a call. You cannot get a report on the 911 call volumes because we can't separate that. We have no idea how many calls, this is the county speaking, We have no idea how many 911 calls we send to Glenville, as opposed to Niskuna, as opposed to Rotterdam, as opposed to Schenectady. So my question is, how do we renegotiate based on call volume if no one's keeping track of call volume? Well, they won't share it. So they say it doesn't exist. So that's something that's going to be a real problem coming forward.
And on a final matter, I implore residents to go online, the information is there. Go to the town of Wilton. Go to the town of Ballston. Go to the town of Clifton Park. Go to the town of Queensbury budget. All this information is available through the comptroller's website. Go and see the sales tax revenue increases year to year in those communities. And go to the line items for property tax revenue. You know what? You won't find one for property tax revenue because they don't have one. Because they don't need it. They live off their sales tax revenue as they should.
Thank you.
As you can tell, this topic gets me fired up.
Yes, I can see this. When I saw the agenda, I thought this was going to be a quick, easy meeting. So we'll move on next to item number 8, a resolution authorizing the submission of the application for grant funds to the New York State Office of Renewal Community Development Block Grant Program. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Do I have a second? Second. Moved in second. Any discussion? As you see from the resolution, we are entering into an agreement to compete for CDBG money, which is a process that requires a governing body in the application to authorize a submission through a resolution. And so this is a resolution that will authorize us to apply. And the program, Councilman Martin, I believe you helped shepherd this, is for the study for the redevelopment of the Business and Technology Park, correct?
Yes, specifically what's being sought here is grant monies to fund a revised master plan for the Technology and Business Park. There's been a lot of success out there, a lot of recent job creation, but there is a significant part of the park that remains undeveloped, old dilapidated buildings, a very inefficient and old transportation route through the park. And there's even a potentially dangerous situation at the pinch point of the roads as they go around the middle school. So this is going to seek to provide grant funding to update that plan and also look at improving the transportation system through the park and update or what can be done to address the remaining properties and bring them back to useful service, hopefully in an optimal manner. The other thing I should say that is very helpful about this, or very encouraging about this application, is we're doing this in partnership with Metroplex and Gillespie. So there's private partners, public partners, the economic development arm of the county is coming together to assist the town in looking at this master plan and help file this application, and that should help its competitiveness as well. So. It's a very interesting application. I hope we do well.
Excellent. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzachowski?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next resolution, 9, approving the 2016 budget amendments. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. As you all know, we do these periodically, budget amendments based on what's happening with revenues and expenses. Jason has listed out the town general fund, the town outside the village fund, highway fund, sewer, water, and inter-fund transfers. The easiest way to do this is if you have any questions, see anything that jumps out at you, we can answer them. But generally speaking, these are things that we do periodically. Some of the bigger ones, I'll just point out, are actually cash outs. So if you look at town outside village fund, the 10-12 line builder inspection, accrued time cash out, that was Paul's cash out to retire. And if you look at the same fund, 10-12, police accrued time cash out, 61-9 was Chief Finelli's cash out. So those are some of the bigger ones that might jump out at you. The only other one is the CHIPS under the highway fund, which is the 2,200 CHIPS, 113,000. That's just a timing of when our 2015 CHIPS came in to actually hit the 2016 budget. So it's just accepting additional CHIPS that wasn't budgeted because of the timing of when we actually received it. And you'll notice we're down in revenue in the highway fund on the third page. The fuel sales were down by 40,000. That's just because gas prices. That's just because gas prices are down. So to offset that in the appropriation code, our general repairs for gas, grease, etc. is down as well. So that offsets. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzachowski?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 10, approving the monthly department reports for 2016. Do I have a motion?
So
Do I have a second?
Second?
Moved in second. Any changes or anything else?
Just for these are from the Assessment Department, Economic Development Planning Department, Justice Department, Receiver of Taxes, Section 8, Town Clerk's Office, and Water Department for April, May, and June.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the roll.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzachowski?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Lastly, before the executive session is new business. So, Councilwoman Wozzachowski, any new business?
I am done.
Councilman Martin?
I said enough.
I thought you said you had 7 of them. Jeez.
No, I said enough for one night.
All right, well, I have no new business, so with that, I'll take just to remind people in the room that we're going to executive session on a personnel matter. We don't anticipate coming out to do any further public business, so you are welcome to stay till we gavel out, but I don't suggest it because there will be no public business after the executive session. So with that, I'll take a motion to go to executive session.
I'll move it.
Second?
I'll second.
Moved in second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? I assume that was an aye, Jim.
Yes. Yes, it was.
Not a vote. We're in executive session.